Hello, my name is Christy Klein, and I will be presenting on the advantages and the disadvantages of internal recruitment versus external recruitment. Hiring managers are faced with many obstacles and barriers to keep their companies competitive. Aside from having a product or a service that is in demand by users, having the right employees to perform the required job duties efficiently and effectively is also a contributor to the organization's overall success, and within that, retaining those valuable employees. Identifying employees with the right skill set for the right job and then keeping them in that position has its own unique set of challenges. Over the decade or two, our economy has gone through many changes, from challenges with the job market, with companies closing, relocating, streamlining their workforce. Many employees found themselves dislocated after many years of employment, limited on skills, and on the brink of losing everything they have worked for. To add to the mix, many have also found themselves reemployed in minimum wage jobs just to keep afloat. Others who have may been considering quitting their jobs reconsidered when job trends began to change. Some of these people took pay and benefit cuts in order just to keep their employment. However, many businesses today are making a comeback. Some are relocating back to an area, opening up elsewhere, and even calling back former employees. Some employers are becoming smarter in their hiring strategies while keeping their workforce streamlined. Employee retention is vital. Employers do not have the extra time and money to search and try to rebuild their talent pool. Many of these organizations use different hiring strategies to fill positions with the most qualified applicants. When a position becomes vacant in an organization, hiring staff need to determine the best method of filling that position. Essentially, an organization has three options: internal recruitment, external recruitment, or simply don't fill the position and blend those duties in with other employees. Since typically the third option of not filling that position isn't always feasible, that leaves the organization with deciding between internal and external recruitment. An organization should consider a few things before selecting the best method. First off, why is this position empty? Was it voluntary or involuntary? What is the goal of filling this position? Is the company looking for fresh talent or wanting to keep their close-knit company with who they already have? With internal recruitment, possibly the most beneficial perk to employers is that promoting within makes it easier to assess the applicants since they're already employed and there is more information available. The hiring manager should have access to previous employee evaluations, recommendations, and firsthand knowledge of their skills, tendencies, and overall performance of that employee seeking the position. Secondly, internal recruiting is much less costly and less time-consuming than external. According to Schwabel, author of the article The Power Within: Why Internal Recruiting and Hiring Are on the Rise, he quotes, "The average cost of finding and hiring someone from outside the company is 1.7 times more than internal hire." Another advantage with the internal staffing is that the current employee is already familiar with the policies, procedures, culture, trends, and overall understanding of the organization. Orientation time of these things can be reduced because it's not necessary. Training can be focused on the specific job duties that individual is going to be performing. If the organization is in need of fresh minds, new outlook, and in general just some new talent, hiring internally is not going to remedy that. Basically, they would just be circulating the stale air around. If the organization is looking for rapid growth, that is not going to happen either. Internal politics may also escalate. While increased motivation may occur within staff seeing the opportunities available, there will also be the potential for the sore losers, the bad attitudes, and potentially, in the event of an employee not being selected for a position, a chance that that employee will be gone within a short period of time. This is a delicate balance that management needs to have in order to make sure that this is done properly, making sure communication is clear with all parties involved. Another disadvantage to internal recruiting is that when selecting potential applicants, the talent pool is going to be very small and potentially leave additional positions vacant. The disadvantages may seem significant, but generally internal searches occur in a well-established larger organization. It's crucial that the internal search is well organized as well. According to Paul Croteau, who is a managing partner at the Legacy Bose Group, which is a talent management company, he stated, "It's essential that the internal recruitment process be well managed. Job analysis and skills required must be assessed and clearly stated to these candidates. Candidates who need to be informed of the overall process and the time frame. They need to be informed of the job requirements, the selection criteria, and most importantly, internal candidates need to be treated with respect. If a candidate is not going to move forward in the next step, he or she needs to be informed in person and provided rationale for their lack of success. At the same time, the recruiter needs to think about how to keep this person motivated and committed to the organization. If they are not treated with respect, you can assure that this employee will leave within 6 months." In comparison, the advantages of external hiring include bringing in fresh talent and new ideas, as well as insight from other organizations that could be beneficial to the company. The stale air that could potentially be circulating and harboring performance may very well be eliminated. Bringing in new people can initiate turnaround and possibly allow a stagnant company to reemerge. The organization can increase their diversity as well as they will have a much larger talent pool to choose from. This could bring in a lot of newness for the company to utilize to their advantage. Additionally, if the company is looking to grow, they are adding to their population, not reducing or remaining at the same as they would with internal recruiting. The disadvantages include the time, the cost, the training time, pushback from current employees who do not welcome change, etc. It's always difficult for a new employee to come in, learn the job, become productive. General turnaround time eats away at not only the company as a whole, but the staff as well, who are disrupted by the needs of that new employee until they are capable to perform the job proficiently. External recruitment is also expensive. The organizations has the advertisement expense, which alone can be extremely costly. Advertising in a local or national newspaper can range into hundreds of dollars for a relatively small advertisement for a short period of time. And typically, employers do not just advertise in one media. They may use newspaper, radio, job fairs, online job boards, and social media like Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn as well. All these sources cost money and time, which generally a company has a very small budget for these type of activities. Expansive advertisements open the door for an overwhelmingly high number of applications and resumes. This then is another challenge and task that needs to be completed, sorting the good from the bad based on a skillfully or perhaps not so skillfully written resume and cover letter. Once the interview process begins, the hiring manager already has a good idea about the internal applicant, whereas they know nothing about the external applicant other than what was crafted on their resume and cover letter. More time and money are put into this process before a decision can be made. An organization needs to consider all strategic implications involved in hiring: cost, time, commitment to the process, the risk level the organization is willing to take on a job opening, and etc. Planning for the future success of an organization starts with the hiring of the right employees. An organization needs to decide what method would work best based on their current situation and resources. Recruitment may be decided on simply the type of position they are hiring for. For example, if they are looking to hire in general labor and grow their workforce, hiring externally would be more ideal for them. If they're looking to hire an executive, it may be more difficult to decide. On one hand, hiring internally, they would save a lot of time, money, and training, as the employee would already have these skills and be familiar with the organization. On the other hand, if the goal of that position is to bring in new ideas and for lack of a better word, shake things up, then bringing in someone from the outside would be the answer. When it comes to the public's opinion on whether internal recruiting is better or worse than external, it generally comes down to the company itself. When an organization only seems to hire internally, to the public that may come across as a company who has a sense of social responsibility to their employees, to take care of them. They're stable and they have a succession plan in place, and it's much more desirable to work for them. However, for the individual on the outside trying to gain that employment in the company, it may come across that the company is not open to outsiders, new ideas, and may be very close-minded. On the other hand, a company that hires externally may be seen as more of a risk taker, and it may be appealing to work for that company because they're going through a revamping process, or maybe there's some sort of shift in the workplace that may be opening up the doors to gaining employment there. However, it might not seem like the company cares to keep their employees. There's a disruption of some sort in their workforce, or something along those lines that would raise red flags on the overall stability of the company. In conclusion, when an organization is in the market to fill a vacant position, they need to consider all the factors. Do they have a succession plan in place? Have they implemented cross-training into their employee development? Do they need to consider bringing in external applicants? In most cases, it's fairly clear that the advantages on hiring internally outweigh externally. However, the hiring manager does need to know their business and know what the plan for the future is of that organization. From that point, then, the manager is able to make a sound decision on what would work best for that organization.